It's the thing or the things that are holding them back from the life that they want to live. It's holding them back from the dreams it is that they set for themselves and desire to fulfill. It's holding them back from the relationships it is that they want, from the careers it is that they want, from the lives it is that they would like to live, and also the level of intimacy in their relationship to themselves. So the way that they view themselves, the way that they think about themselves, essentially their self-confidence. So recently, I have been focusing on helping women go through the healing process, because the number one thing that I saw come up time and time again as I worked with over 600 students these past 8 years, 600 women over these past 8 years, is that the women who did not have the results it is that they wanted, they came to me because the main symptom, the main experience it is that they were having in their life was repeating a pattern year after year after year, semester after semester after semester, and not being able to figure out why they couldn't break the cycle, why they couldn't get out of their own way, why they couldn't stop self-sabotaging. They came to me, number one, for that reason. Number two, because they weren't hitting the goals it is that they had for themselves, whether the goal was to have a certain grade level or a GPA, or the grade was their desire to have more balance while they were in school. And then the third thing is that they couldn't stop procrastinating. They couldn't get themselves to stay consistent with the actions, the behaviors, the things that they knew were going to help them to achieve the goals it is that they had for themselves. So what was getting in the way of that? After talking for hours with over 600 women these past 8 years, is their relationship with themselves. If you don't have the result it is that you desire in your life, if you were like me, a little girl with big dreams who became a grown-ass woman who never stopped chasing those dreams, but you feel like it's not for you, it wasn't made for you. Maybe you're not smart enough, or you believe you're not capable enough, or you believe you're not worthy enough, or you've experienced so much failure and so many setbacks, and you are tired of the one step forward, two steps back narrative or experience in your life. The number one thing it is that you need to focus on is your relationship with yourself. Because I will tell you, it is not that you don't know enough. It is not that you don't know what to do. It's not that you don't have what it takes. It's not that you don't want it bad enough. It's not that you're not motivated enough. It's not that you're not disciplined enough. It's that within you, within your subconscious brain, there is a belief system that is running the show that you are not conscious of. What I saw over and over and over again in my coaching relationship with women is that their level of self-belief when they came to work with me was in the toilet. And that is what happens when you experience failure after failure after failure after failure, is that you start to experience, you begin to experience and begin to create and develop this narrative that there is something wrong with you, that there must be something that you're lacking. There's something that you're not getting. There's something that you don't have that other people do, because if you had it, then you would be able to achieve the things it is that you desire to achieve. And what I want you to understand is that there is nothing wrong with you. You are whole and good and capable and ready. It's just that we have grown up in a society that has conditioned us out of our self-trust. that has conditioned us out of our self-confidence, that has conditioned us out of our remembrance that we are that girl, that we are capable, that we have what it takes to succeed. What I want you to know is that until you can grieve your past experiences, until you can grieve the life that you thought you were going to have up until this point, you're not going to be able to move forward. You are going to stay stuck in the past. That was the second pattern that I saw show up in these 600 women that I've worked with over the past 8 years. The first thing was they were stuck in a pattern and couldn't figure out how to get out of it. And that pattern caused them to have low self-belief, low self-worth, low self-concept. The second pattern that I saw show up in these 600 women over and over and over again was an inability to accept where they were. Their thoughts were constantly focused on, if only I had. I wish I would have. I can't believe I let it go this long. They were focused on all of the lack. They were focused on all of the mistakes, the perceived mistakes. They were focused on where they weren't and beating themselves up over the fact that they weren't where they needed to be. And when your thoughts, your energy is focused on the past, what you create is more of the same, because your thoughts get stuck in thoughts of the past. Your emotions get stuck in emotions of the past. Your actions stay stuck in actions of the past. And that is what creates that perpetual pattern of the same old, because you're repeating the same old thoughts, feelings, and actions. And that's really important for you to understand, because our thoughts, right, the sentences that we play out in our head that create narratives and stories, those thoughts create your emotional state, the sensations that you experience in your body. And the feelings that you have, the emotions, the sensations that you feel in your body will drive what you do. And it also drives what you don't do. It drives the actions that you decide to take. And it drives the actions that you decide not to take. And why that's important is because your actions, what you choose to do and what you choose not to do, creates your reality. It creates your experience. It creates the grades it is that you have. It creates the time that you have or don't have. It creates the relationships that you do or don't have. It creates what you experience on a daily basis. And when you cannot let go of what could have been, what should have been, what you wish you would have done, you stay stuck in that pattern and you never move forward. This is the reason why so many women in college feel like they're taking one step forward and 2 steps back, because they cannot stop self-sabotaging. And the reason why they can't stop self-sabotaging is because their brain, right, their thoughts, the way they view themselves, the way they view their life is from this perspective of, I can never get ahead, or I'm just not good enough, or things don't work out for me, because again, stuck on focusing on what was, instead of accepting that this is where I am now and making moves from this place, making moves from the lessons here, making moves from what they've learned here, making moves from their experience here. So, pattern number one that I saw was low self-belief, low self-concept. Pattern number 2 was an inability to move forward, to grieve their past experience, to let go of what could have been and focus on what will be, focus on where they're going from here forward. The third pattern that I saw show up over and over and over again was avoidance of emotions, of feeling emotions, of acknowledging that they had emotions. If they felt any emotions or any feelings, it was usually frustration or anger, but they didn't have access or the capacity to be with their emotional states. And the reason why this is important is because everything we do and everything we don't do is because of how we feel. The reason why this is important for you to understand is because every action you take and every action you don't take is because of how you feel. And if you are constantly avoiding feeling, if you're constantly avoiding emotions, what that creates is stagnation because you don't take action. And if you do take action, you're often taking actions that don't lead or get you closer to the goals and the desires it is that you have for yourself. The number one reason why students don't succeed, the number one reason why women in general have a hard time achieving goals or meeting goals is because of what we label as procrastination, which is just a decision to do something later that you had decided to do now or could do now, and for whatever reason aren't. And there's always a reason why you're not. And I'm going to tell you what that reason is. The reason why we procrastinate, the reason why we delay, the reason why we wait is because we're trying to postpone, we're trying to delay what we're imagining we're going to experience, feel, when we take the action. This is why it's so important to be able to feel our emotions, because if what you're avoiding this whole time through procrastination is whatever it is that you're imagining you're going to feel when you take the action, when you do the task, when you engage in the activity, and you don't know how to feel, you don't know how to be comfortable feeling, you're afraid of your emotions, guess what's always going to happen? You're always going to delay. You're always going to push back. You're always going to not put forth any action. If you want to turn this around, okay, if you want to become the kind of woman who accomplishes what she says that she's going to accomplish, if you want to become the kind of woman who does what she said that she's going to do, if you want to become the type of woman who finishes the year so damn proud of herself, there are three skills that you need to focus on learning. And you need to learn them fast. And you need to practice them now. And you need to get good at them now. And you need to do whatever it is that you can do to learn them, to practice them, to master them, to get good at them, to really just focus on learning them. So these three skills correspond with the patterns that I see show up in women when they're going after any goal. Again, whether it's an academic goal, or it's a life goal, or it's a relationship goal, or if it's a career goal, or if it's a financial goal, whether it's a joy goal, whether it's a personal healing goal. These are the things that you need to know how to do. Thing number one, okay, is you need to learn how to create the self-concept that is going to support the identity that you are going to need to have in order to achieve the thing it is that you desire. Learn how to create. What is a self-concept? Self-concept is the thoughts that you have about yourself. Literally what you think of yourself. How you describe yourself to yourself and to other people. And it's also how you imagine that other people are perceiving you. The reason why it's important for you to know how to develop a supportive self-concept, and by supportive what I mean is that these thoughts about yourself help you to achieve the goal it is that you desire. The reason why this is important is because our self-concept, which can also be called your self-identity or your self-image, is what drives the show. What you believe about yourself is how you will show up in the world. Because what you believe about yourself, what you think about yourself, is going to generate emotions in your body, sensations in your body. And if those sensations feel good and amazing, we tend to show up more. We tend to be more disciplined, more motivated, more inspired, more consistent. If these emotions that these thoughts are generating make us feel bad, we tend to avoid, we tend to hide, we tend to be in a freeze state. We tend to not want to show up. Your self-image is so important because what is going to happen is that the world is going to reflect back to you, okay? Your world, your experience, your relationships, your career, your grades, your friendships. They're going to mirror back to you the things it is that you think about yourself. Why? Because a thing called the reticular activating system in our brain, confirmation bias, and the fact that our brain cannot stand to be wrong. So you're going to see, reflecting back to you, anything and everything that confirms what it is that you believe to be true about yourself. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and this is how you stay stuck. One of the things that I work on with women, it's like the very core and the foundation of what we do, is creating a supportive self-concept and a supportive self-image. We do self-identity work, self-concept work, self-image work through a process called shadow work. Shadow work is the process, it's inner work, it's inner healing work of us taking all of the aspects that you consider to be unlovable, that you consider to be undesirable, that you consider to be like these parts of you that are icky or that you're afraid you'll be judged for, and we turn them into your superpower. Because as long as you're rejecting aspects of yourself, as long as you're rejecting parts of yourself, you'll never be able to show up true, authentic, and whole. If you cannot accept all of you, the world will not be able to accept all of you. If you cannot accept all of you, you won't ever have true self-acceptance and true self-love. If you cannot accept all of you, your successes, your most favorite attributes, and also your flaws, and also your downfalls, if you cannot own them, there is no way that you're going to be able to develop self-confidence. Because in the back of your mind, you will always be worried. What if they think this? What if they say that? What if this is their perception? By doing the shadow work to own all of these aspects of yourself, even the parts of you that you think are ugly, even the parts of you that you think that you'll be judged for, when you can own them and you can see the gift in them, you can see the lesson in them, you can see why your soul chose these parts of you and these attributes of you, there is nothing that anybody can think about you that you will be worried about. There is nothing that anyone can say about you that you'll be worried about. And that is where true self-confidence comes from. It comes from no matter what people say, no matter what happens, no matter what I experience, no matter what I go through, I like me. And I like my decisions. And I like my choices. And I like what I say. And I like how I say it. And I'm going to pick me every single time. I'm going to pick me every single time. I'm going to choose me every single time. I am safe with me. Because no matter what happens, I will not treat myself badly. I will not speak about myself badly. No matter what happens, I will believe in myself. When that's the energy, when that's the vibe, when that's the footing, the foundation that you stand on, tell me what's going to come between you and what you want. Nothing. Nothing. Skill number 1, learn how to develop and work on your self-concept and your self-image. Make sure it's one that's supportive of the goals that you're chasing, of the dreams that you're chasing, of the things that you're in the process of creating. Skill set number 2 is your ability to have emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is your ability to feel any emotion. Emotional intelligence is your ability to feel any emotion. Now remember, I said that the reason why we procrastinate, the reason why we self-sabotage, the reason why we don't take action, the reason why we're stuck in a holding pattern, in a waiting pattern, in a freeze pattern, is because of what we're imagining the experience of taking the action is going to feel like. When you can learn to be with your sadness and the sensations it brings up in your body, when you can learn to be with disappointment and the sensations that it brings up in your body, when you can learn to be with happiness and the sensations it brings up in your body, when you can learn to be with embarrassment and the sensations that it brings up in your body, when you can learn to feel shame and the sensations that it brings up in your body, and you can teach your brain and your body that you can survive that emotion and those sensations, there's nothing you need to delay. The only reason why you delay it is because you're afraid of what it'll feel like. And you don't know if you can handle what it'll feel like. So if you do the inner work of learning how to feel what it'll feel like, and you train your brain, you program your brain to understand that you can survive that it's nothing, that it's sensations, that it's just heat, that it's just palpitations, that it's just hands getting sweaty, that it's just cheeks flushing, you will take all of the action that you need to take in order to create your desired life, in order to achieve the goal it is that you have for yourself. So again, if you want to stop procrastinating, if you want to become the type of woman who achieves what she says that she's going to achieve, if you want to be the kind of woman who is so damn proud of herself at the end of the year, you got to work on developing a self-concept that supports that goal, that dream that you're after. 2, you've got to learn how to feel any emotion, have emotional intelligence. Okay? The third thing that you need to develop as a woman who was a little girl with big dreams and is now an adult still chasing them, a whole ass woman still chasing them, is your ability to do the inner healing work. What do I mean by that? Inner healing is the process of remembering that you are whole, of remembering that you were never wounded in the first place. This is your ability to be with yourself, to develop a relationship with yourself, to get to know yourself, to get to know what you value, to get to know what you stand for and what you don't stand for. Your ability to set a boundary and hold it. Your ability to look within yourself and stand what you see. Bear witness to what you see so that you can do something to shift it if it needs shifting. So that you can do something. So that you can like yourself. So that you can honor yourself. So that you can stand toe to toe with anyone and everyone you come in contact with. So there is nothing anyone can hold over you. Most of the time, the reason why we cannot achieve what it is that we want is because we're not willing to look at our relationship with ourselves. Because we cannot sit with ourselves long enough to take personal responsibility, not for what we've been through, because sometimes the things that happened to us weren't our fault, but to take responsibility for who we become now. Most of us don't know how to have a relationship with ourselves. We don't know how to do that inner work. And why that's a problem is because the way we relate to one thing is the way that we relate to everything. And if you have a poor relationship with yourself, it also means you have a poor relationship with other people in your lives. It may not look that way because you're giving them everything, but guess who's getting nothing? If you have a poor relationship with yourself, you have a poor relationship with everything in your life. So, to recap, what I've learned in these past 8 years, after being in deep, intimate containers with over 600 women, the thing that we are chasing more than anything is the ability to say, I'm proud of the woman that I've become. The thing we're chasing more than anything is to like who we are and to like the life that we're living and the life that we're creating. In order to get there, there is some inner work that needs to be done. There's some healing work that needs to be done. And again, all healing is making ourselves whole again. And we're already whole. It's just that we forget because we're in a society that is fiercely committed to making us forget. This is the reason why the core of all of the work that I do and all of the work that I've been doing over the past 8 years and all of the work that I will continue to do with women is around their relationship with themselves, self-intimacy, and healing. That work starts with building a solid foundation of your self-identity, the thoughts you think about yourself, how you see yourself, and how you imagine other people see you. And by the way that you imagine other people see you is how you see yourself. They're just reflecting back to you what you already think about you. They're just reflecting back to you the way that you see yourself. This is why your self-image, your self-concept, your self-identity has to come first. You cannot be a successful student if you do not see yourself as one. You'll never show up like that. You cannot be the ideal partner if you don't see yourself as the ideal partner. You cannot be the badass exec if you do not see yourself as the exec. If the story in your mind isn't supportive of that, you won't ever show up as that. Meaning you're not going to act that way, you're not going to behave that way. And if you don't act that way and you don't behave that way, you're not going to be able to create it. Thoughts drive feeling, feelings drive actions, actions create the experience that you have on a daily basis. Experience being what people say to you. Experience being the house you live in. Experience being the interactions you have. Experience being the money you have. Experience being the career you have. Experience being what you are experiencing, living every single day. The results that you have, the things that make you doubt or believe, or it's evidence, right? The evidence doesn't come until you believe that you're the type of person who can create that evidence first. Self-concept, self-image, self-identity. That work has to be done first. And then you got to get really good at emotional intelligence. Because you're a human being and you're going to experience some shit. You're going to think some shit and it's going to make you feel. And if you are afraid of feeling, you will always be running from the very action it is that you need to take to create what it is that you want. When you are not afraid of what you will feel and experience, there is nothing that you will not do. There is nothing that will stand in your way. And in order to create a better self-concept that supports you, in order to be able to feel your emotions, you have to know yourself. You have to do this self-exploration work. You have to develop a relationship with yourself. You got to be intimate with your life, with your patterns, with your day-to-day experiences. You cannot hide from yourself. This is what I've learned after all of these years, that this work is the most important work any of us can do. You want to see what you're capable of? You want to be able to experience in this lifetime what it's like to actually live out your potential? This is what you got to learn how to do. This is 80% of the work. The 20% are the things that we obsess about that make no difference. The planner, and I need the plan in order to achieve what it is that I want, and I need the consistency, and I need the color coding, and I need like the right thing to do, and I need to be told exactly what to do, and I need like the meal plan, and I need like the dating tips, and I need like that stuff is important. The strategy part of it, right? It's important. But it's not the most important thing. It's needed. It's necessary. But it's not the 80% that really makes it all work. Because you can have the strategy, you can know what to do, you can know what to say, you can know how to set a boundary. But if you can't get yourself to do it, because you don't believe you can, your self-concept is shitty, because you're afraid of what it'll be like, lack of emotional intelligence skills, because you're unwilling to like be that intimate with yourself, you're not going to ever follow through on the actions. And what good is it to have a plan, to have a strategy, if you don't follow it, if you don't do it? This is the reason that after 8 years of working intimately with women in college, I stopped teaching them study skills. This is the reason why I stopped focusing on college women and I started focusing on women. I started focusing on helping women heal. Started focusing on helping women develop a solid relationship with themselves, where they think very highly of themselves, where they're their own cheerleader, where they have incredible self-trust, where their belief in themselves is so strong they could go through the most embarrassing and shameful failures that they could ever go through in their life, and they would still choose themselves and better themselves time and time and time again. This has been the thing for me that has allowed me to create all of the success it is that I've had, is because I'm willing to see myself in a different light, to develop a new self-image, a new self-concept, because I am not afraid to feel any emotion. Because I am not afraid to be real and intimate with myself and look at my life and evaluate and really, really look at and stand what I see so that I can do something about it. I've reinvented myself so many times. I've come back to myself so many times. And when I say reinvent, what I mean is uncover all of what I'm capable of. To access every inch and ounce of my potential, so that I can see in this lifetime what I'm made of, what I can live, what I can create. That is what all of us are chasing anyway. This is the path there. If you know this is what you want, if you've been banging your head against a wall, trying to figure out why it is that you can't just break through, why you can't just stop getting in your way, stop sabotaging yourself, stop repeating the same pattern, it's because you haven't done this work. And I want to help you to learn how to do this work. I want you to do this work alongside me. I want to teach you these skill sets that we should have been taught by our mothers and our grandmothers, that should have been handed down to us. If you want to do this work with me, there's 6 months left in the year. The perfect amount of time for you to turn things around. There's 6 months left in the year. Enough time for you to reinvent yourself. Enough time for you to finish the year so damn proud of yourself. In the description of this video, there's going to be a link to my calendar for you to book a consultation call. This call, we're going to talk about what you've been through, what you've been experiencing, the patterns that have been showing up in your life over and over and over that you cannot break, that you cannot get out of, that you're sick of repeating. I'm going to show you exactly where you have to do the self-concept work. I'm going to show you exactly where your emotional intelligence is not where it needs to be. I'm going to show you exactly where you need to develop more self-intimacy. I'm going to teach you and show you exactly how I'm going to help you create all of those things, your self-concept, learn emotional intelligence skills, develop a better relationship with yourself. I'm going to give you the plan of how I'm going to get you to the dreams it is that you have for yourself, the life it is that you want to create. And at the end of that call, you get to decide whether you want to take that journey with me or not. Either way, at the end of that consultation call, you will know exactly what you need to work on. So if you want to book that call, my calendar is wide open. The information is in the description box. I will see you in my next video. Bye.